Sophia Bennett sat nervously at the corner table of the upscale restaurant, her hands fidgeting with the napkin in her lap. At 27, she was beautiful with long, blonde hair and delicate features. But years of being deaf had made her painfully shy around hearing people. She wore a red dress her college friends had insisted she buy for this blind date. Those same friends were now clustered at the bar across the room, barely suppressing their laughter as they watched her. Sophia could see them in the mirror, their phones out, clearly recording. She felt her stomach sink. This was a setup, a joke. They'd convinced her that a man named Marcus had seen her photo and specifically asked to meet her, that he was interested, that he didn't mind that she was deaf. Sophia had been hesitant to. She hadn't dated since college, too self-conscious about the communication barrier, but they'd been so encouraging. Now, sitting alone while they laughed and filmed, she understood. There was no Marcus. Or if there was, he'd taken one look at her and left. Either way, she was the punchline. Sophia started to stand, ready to leave with what little dignity she had left, when a man approached her table. He was tall, maybe in his mid-30s, wearing a navy suit, handsome, with dark hair and kind eyes. He carried a small notebook and pen. He sat down across from her and immediately began writing. He turned the notebook toward her. "Hi, I'm Marcus Reynolds. I apologize for being late. Traffic was terrible. You must be Sophia." Sophia stared at the note, then at him. He was real. And he was writing to her. She nodded, pulling out her own phone to type a response. She turned it toward him. "Yes, I'm Sophia. I wasn't sure you'd come." Marcus smiled and wrote back, "Why wouldn't I? I've been looking forward to meeting you all week." Sophia glanced toward the bar, where her friends were now whispering to each other, looking confused. They'd clearly expected Marcus not to show or to leave immediately upon realizing she was deaf. "I should tell you," Sophia typed, "I'm deaf. I can read lips a bit, but I communicate primarily through ASL or writing." If that's a problem, Marcus was already writing. "I know. Your friends mentioned it when they set this up. I brought this notebook specifically to communicate with you. Though I should confess something." Sophia's heart sank. "Here it comes." "The polite rejection," Marcus wrote. "I've been learning ASL for the past 3 years. I'm not fluent, but I'd like to try if you're patient with me." Sophia's eyes widened. She signed back, slowly, "You know, ASL." Marcus signed in return, his movements a bit clumsy but sincere. "I'm learning. For my daughter. She's 6 and deaf." Sophia felt tears prick her eyes. She signed, "You have a deaf daughter." Marcus nodded and signed, "Her mother passed away 3 years ago. I've been raising her alone and learning sign language to communicate with her. It's been challenging, but worth it." They continued the evening in a mixture of sign language, writing, and patient communication. Marcus was CEO of a tech company, a widower raising his daughter, Emma, alone. He was kind, funny, and completely at ease with the communication barriers. "This must be frustrating for you," Sophia signed at one point. "Most hearing people get impatient. Why would I be frustrated?" Marcus signed back, his movements improving as the evening went on. "Communication is about effort, not speed. You're worth the effort." Across the room, Sophia's former friends were no longer laughing. They watched in shocked silence as Marcus and Sophia talked and smiled, clearly connecting after dinner as they prepared to leave. One of Sophia's friends, Jessica, approached the table with her phone still recording. "Marcus," Jessica said loudly, a smirk on her face. "How does it feel to be on a date with someone who can't even hear you?" Marcus stood slowly, his expression turning cold. He pulled out his phone and typed a message, "Can," then turned it toward Jessica so everyone nearby could read it. "It feels like I'm on a date with someone genuine and kind. Someone who communicates with intention rather than cruelty. Someone who doesn't mock people for disabilities they can't control. In other words, someone completely unlike you." He continued typing. "I know what you did. I know you set this up as a joke. I know you've been filming and laughing. But here's what you don't know. I specifically asked to be set up with Sophia when I heard about her. Not as a prank. Because I wanted to meet someone who understood what my daughter goes through. Someone who could help me be a better father. Marcus turned to Sophia and signed while speaking aloud so everyone could hear. Sophia, I'd like to see you again. Not because of a setup or a joke, but because I genuinely enjoyed tonight. Would you have dinner with me next week? And maybe you'd like to meet my daughter Emma. Sophia signed back, tears streaming down her face. I'd love that. Marcus turned back to Jessica and her group, speaking aloud while signing for Sophia's benefit. As for you and your friends, I've run a tech company worth about $2 billion. We hire thousands of people every year. I'll make sure your names are flagged in our HR system. Not because you were cruel to Sophia, though. That's reprehensible. But because anyone who thinks disabilities are funny lacks the empathy and character we value in employees. The color drained from Jessica's face. Several of her friends were frantically trying to delete their videos. Too late, Marcus said. I'm sure several people here have already captured your cruelty on their own phones. The internet has a long memory. Marcus offered his arm to Sophia, and they walked out together, leaving Jessica and her friends frozen in horrified silence. In the weeks that followed, Sophia and Marcus dated carefully, thoughtfully. He introduced her to Emma, a bright 6-year-old with pigtails who signed enthusiastically about her favorite cartoons and her pet hamster. You're pretty, Emma signed to Sophia, and you sign better than Daddy. Hey, Marcus protested with a smile. I'm getting better. Sophia laughed a sound she rarely made because she couldn't hear it herself, but one that Marcus told her was beautiful. She began teaching Marcus advanced ASL, helping him communicate more naturally with Emma. In return, Marcus introduced Sophia to other deaf adults in the community, helping her build a social circle that didn't mock her. 6 months after that restaurant setup, Jessica's video did make it onto the internet, but not in the way she'd intended. Someone had filmed Marcus's response to her cruelty, and it went viral. The internet celebrated him for defending Sophia and condemning discrimination. Jessica lost her job at a marketing firm that didn't want to be associated with someone caught on video mocking disabilities. Several of her friends faced similar consequences. A year after their first date, Marcus proposed to Sophia in sign language at a deaf community event. Emma stood beside him, holding the ring box and bouncing with excitement. Will you marry us? Marcus signed, Emma mimicking his movements. Will you be my wife and Emma's mother? Sophia signed back through tears. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. At their wedding, the ceremony was conducted in both ASL and spoken English. Emma was the flower girl, signing I love you to both of them as she walked down the aisle. Marcus's toast, delivered in sign and speech, was simple. A year ago, some cruel people tried to make Sophia the victim of a joke. Instead, they gave me the greatest gift of my life. They led me to a woman who's taught me and Emma that communication comes in many forms, but love speaks the clearest language of all. Years later, when people asked Sophia about that terrible blind date setup, she always smiled and sighed. It was the worst thing and the best thing that ever happened to me. Those people meant to hurt me, but they led me to my family. Sometimes the cruelest intentions create the most beautiful outcomes. Sometimes the joke is on the people making jokes. Sometimes the setup meant to humiliate becomes the setup for a love story. Sometimes defending someone's dignity in a restaurant leads to a lifetime of love. And sometimes the shy deaf girl they tried to mock becomes the wife of a billionaire and mother to the daughter who needed her most. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it. Subscribe for more stories about dignity, standing up for others, and unexpected love. Leave a comment about choosing kindness over cruelty. Your stories inspire us all.